welcome to Between Sessions with Berries. I'm so excited to have our guest today. I actually know our guest. I've met her a few times in different capacities. She's an amazing person, an amazing therapist. Erin Davis, thank you for being here today. I would love to just pick your brain, talk about everything you're doing as a therapist and other income streams and how you're managing all of that with the administrative load that we have as therapists and also therapists that want to scale and do other things in our careers. So welcome, and could you please tell us about yourself?
Hi, Kym. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here on the Between the Sessions with Berries podcast. I am a longtime fan of yours too, and I've been following you for years. And so, a little bit about me: I'm an OCD therapist based out of North Carolina, but I've traveled all over the world, got lots of life experiences, and I tell you, the number one priority for me is that work-life balance. So I can't wait to get into that today.
Would love to talk about that. I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast, really. It's like, yes, we're therapists. We show up for our clients in sessions, but like, what do we do in between the sessions, really? How do we make our lives sustainable? How do we manage all the stress that comes with just like even being private practice business owners? There's so much that comes with that. And how do we have that work-life balance in between? So let's dig into it. Just your typical day and your experience being a therapist in private practice. You've had an evolution over time. You've learned, probably from your own mistakes and how to make things run easier and faster and all that. So maybe we'll start there and then just talk about how you decided to scale and even find space to scale.
Our field is so unique in that it is difficult to scale if you're going solo. You really got to find some other tools and systems to help you create that scalability, if you will.
Yes.
And for me, I have currently, now this didn't come day one. I think we also have to remember you can't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 100. But where I am now compared to where I was years ago, now I've got my therapy practice. I've got a coaching business, podcast, YouTube channel, plus all the social media platforms.
Yes.
And I'm a wife and a mom to three very active boys.
On top of all that. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yes. Now, is it a solo practice or a group practice or did you scale into group? I'm not sure about that.
I'm a solo practitioner. My goal is to scale the coaching business because I've got a course, group coaching, and the one-to-one coaching. But really with the scaling, I've had employees as well with both businesses, whether it's administrative or billing. And we can also talk about even just the billing. I mean, that can be such a headache, and it's hard to know who to trust. But I have really enjoyed Thrizer. I don't know if you've had an experience with Thrizer.
Lots of people have talked about Thrizer. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It helps. Yeah. We should back up for a second and just say what scaling means, because I feel like I use that word so easily now, but maybe somebody listening, like a brand new clinician or somebody that's just starting out in private practice, they might even be like, what does scaling mean? So what is your definition of that? Like, why do we even want to do that as clinicians?
Scaling to me means the ability to effectively expand your expertise and to be able to branch out and do more things that light you up. So for me, writing notes did not light me up. Doing the social media posts or the email marketing, none of those things light me up. And when that happens, it's kind of like your light dims. And to me, I just want to show up for my clients the most fullest capacity possible.
Yes, absolutely. And all those other things drag you down.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, with scaling, it's just having that ability to hire the right people, not only to hire them, right, Kym, but you got to train them. So there's a lot more to it than just saying, oh, yes, please come in and do my social media, or please come in and do my email marketing or podcast show notes or whatever. There's a lot more to scaling. But anyway, the scaling, when you do it right, it helps you get into your zone.
Your zone of genius instead of Oh my God. I don't even want to know how to write a treatment plan, really, or a progress note,
Yes.
or I don't want to know how to put a reel on Instagram. I mean, all of these things like just take up our time and energy to try to learn how to do it and try to do it by ourselves. I don't know about you, but scaling for me meant I'm not going to be locked into 30 clients a week. I'm not going to have to see 8 hours straight of clients every day and then go home so burned
Yes.
out and not even being able to function at the end of the day or interact with, my boyfriend and God forbid having kids. I couldn't even imagine trying to come home and do that too after seeing that many clients. So, I mean, scaling for me was always just more freedom, flexibility, space to breathe and not have to just be locked into that one-to-one model of back-to-back clients. Barely can go to the
Right.
bathroom, can't find time to eat, can't write my notes, have to write my notes on the weekends. Like all of that was what forced me to scale, I think.
Right. And
Yeah.
let alone, you know how it is with podcasting. There's
Yes.
very little time to do podcast editing
Yes.
if you've got everything else going on.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I don't know if you did this. I feel like all people do this in the beginning. It's like I'm just going to do it all by myself and I'm going to try to figure out how to do everything, learn all the things. And then finally, I'd love to hear from you. Like, what was that point where you decided, like, I actually am going to hire somebody to do this for me? Because I don't know about you, but it gets in my brain. It's like, okay, I can't afford it. What if I hire somebody and I can't pay them? Like, there's a whole thing that goes with trying to bring people in to help you so you can grow and expand.
For me, I made that jump a year ago when I had been doing the podcast, broadcast for about 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I released my episodes every Friday. And this particular week, it kept getting closer and closer to that deadline. And I'm not
Yes.
about to miss the deadline. Like that stressed me out so much, but I was up till like 11:30 p.m. on a Thursday night and I had
Oh.
clients the next day and
Mm-hmm.
this podcast to air and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm going to do." Cuz it's
Yeah.
not like you can record at 11:30 at night. I mean, I guess you could, but you're not like at your best and you still have to edit. So, it was that was like my tipping point of like I can't do this anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
have to hire.
Mm-hmm.
And that was such a breath of fresh air. And honestly, that was probably my first hire thinking about it.
Oh,
Like,
wow. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first hire of like, I can no longer do this on my own, at least
Um,
sustainably.
yes, I got you. So, and when you say your first hire, I'm assuming you're talking about a podcast editor or somebody to help edit these and get them up for you and do socials and that sort of thing.
Everything.
Or yeah, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was in this mindset of like, I can do it, and I'm going to maximize my income by not hiring people. But what I really came to realize is how much that was like shooting me in the foot and burning me out and just making things a lot more difficult because I couldn't get in that zone of genius. It was
Mm-hmm.
always like the hamster wheel of like more on the to-do list, the next thing. And,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't a good mix.
I totally get that. Hiring has been a whole experience in itself. I don't know how it was for you, like
Yes.
trying to find somebody. What was that like for you? Did you just find a perfect person right out of the gate, or how did it go for you?
I feel like as a small business owner, even though we're therapists, if you're in
Hmm.
private practice, you're a small business owner, you have to learn how to interview.
Yes.
It's so many layers to this that you don't anticipate. Podcast or no podcast, I hope that people do find someone to support them in their private practice
Yes.
because it can make such a difference. But yeah, it's been a journey. So I did advertise on LinkedIn. That's how I find most of my
Nice.
hires.
That's a great tip.
What,
Hmm.
yeah, whether it's through posting a job or it's through the networking, LinkedIn has been my go-to source.
Hmm.
And so I will look at their resume. And for me, I just wanted someone who was aligned with mental health
Hmm.
and really appreciated the art and the topic so that they would have hopefully a passion for the job.
Yes. Did you find someone successfully right off the bat, or was it?
Yes,
Oh, you
yes.
did. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Not
And
been my
it,
experience. I've had a hard time.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I got lucky and I've been lucky with now I'm on my third editor at the
Okay.
moment because everyone has different skill sets. And as my
Yes.
business grew and my marketing changed, my needs changed.
Yes.
So then it's the conversation of this channel or this broadcast, like things are changing and I need someone with a different skill set. So just gently moving on to the next person to, fill that role. And so just trying to find the right fit of people. It can be a process, but just having that clear communication, I think, and those boundaries and managing those expectations, because with the editors, especially, like timelines are so important. I mean, you've got to stay consistent with your content.
You do. Absolutely. Yeah. And as a practice owner, business owner, entrepreneur, what made you decide that you should do a podcast? Because I just was talking about this the other day online. All the marketing possibilities, the SEO possibilities, the education that it offers to be able to do a podcast, especially if you have a specialty like you do. Like, I just wonder, like, why that was your pull, and if you found that, it's helped to grow even like your client referral base, or has it just gotten more of your message out there? Like, I just would love to talk about that a little bit.
Well, the podcast was definitely a leap of faith, and it helped me grow even in my own like comfort zone. But for me, I was just reflecting on my own life of like, how do I seek out information? And for me, I listen to podcasts when I'm looking to learn something new or to get some encouragement or just feel a boost in my energy. Like, I'm going to a podcast. So I was thinking, my ideal client is someone like me. I mean, I think naturally that's what we tend to do.
Yep,
and
for sure.
And so just trying to get into my own head and then in the head of my ideal clients of like, how can I reach them? And there's a lot of shame around OCD. So just to bring a light to that, a voice to that, and to help people find some answers, because so many people stereotypically think that OCD is all about hand washing and organizing, but it's not like that at all. But so my journey with podcasting, it's been a great ride, and it's brought in other revenue with sponsorships or just people finding my podcast and coming into my ecosystem, if you will. Maybe they bought a course from me or an ebook, or maybe they have landed in therapy, but the podcast, you can reach so many people. Mental health is widespread.
Yeah, and you probably just have so much knowledge to share. It probably just helps so many people. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And, it does challenge you, because you think, at least for me in starting out, it's like, how will I come up with so many things to talk about? And you just got to get out of your own way. And it's interesting because there are plenty of things I still have not talked about. And I've been podcasting for almost 2 years.
Oh my gosh, I can relate to that so much. It's like, how have I never had an episode on this or talked about this? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it's amazing. Yeah. And really it's that old, like, just get going with it. Just start it instead of like worrying about, the not having enough content or not being able to like be consistent, that sort of thing. Just start and keep the momentum going. Yeah.
Right.
And then bring in people to help you. Like that really is the key.
Yes.
Yeah. People ask me that all the time. They're like, how do you do all this stuff? I see you everywhere. And I'm like, podcast editor to virtual assistants, online business manager, graphic designer. Like, it just continues to expand as you grow. If you can let people in to help you. Yeah.
Right. And ultimately, like, your brand grows whenever you have more support.
Yes, I love that, because I definitely have been stuck in that. Like, I don't want to hire somebody to do this part because it's going to cost too much. But when you do, it actually opens up the space for you to be able to earn more, bring in more like abundance into your life when you're doing that. Like you said, when you're in that like zone of genius, the stuff that really lights you up, when you're in that, that's going to attract more people to you if you're not bogged down with all this other stuff.
Because otherwise, if you're stuck in that administrative burden, I mean, you know how it is with the notes and the treatment plans and updating everything and making sure all the paperwork is signed. Like, all of those things are preventing you from getting your message out to a potential new client who deserves to hear your message.
Absolutely.
Because they deserve healing. And
Yes.
you have a great service and expertise to offer. And so by you not being out there, you're robbing them of that potential healing journey.
Absolutely. So with your private practice, you mentioned Thrizer. What all have you sort of outsourced with your private practice when you went as a solo private practice owner? What all have you used and what are you doing now to like make that run real smoothly for you so you can do all this other stuff?
I've got a few systems in place.
Okay.
Thrizer helps with the out of network billing, which is fantastic because they do the end to end claims. Clients get money up front for their out of network benefits. Next thing I do, in fact, use berries, and I've been using berries, I guess, a year or more. I
Yeah.
mean, it has been fabulous.
Oh my
So
gosh.
berries helps with the notes and then the treatment plans, and now it's got its own little AI assistant.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
incredible. And that diagnosis feature, I'm so excited about all these
Yes,
features.
yes. Oh
Uh,
my gosh, me too.
yeah. So then I have Simple Practice,
hmm
and Simple Practice, I've done a lot of things with the custom reminders
Oh,
so that,
nice.
yeah, to even reduce no-shows. Like I put in my late cancellation policy and the fee right there in the reminders to help keep people coming. And the other tech tool I use is Spruce Health to
Nice.
maintain that client confidentiality. And and then the last tech tool I use is a CRM called Ignite.
Oh,
And
what is that?
yeah, well, with that, I also use it in the coaching business, but I've got it separated on the back end. But what it does is it allows people to book the consult, which I understand, Simple Practice has their
hmm
thing too, but I automate a workflow of emails to help warm the client up before the consult even happens.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
So it frees up my time so much. So I'm not sending 3 to 5 emails to a potential new client who may or may not convert. But by doing this workflow, they are more likely to convert because by the time we get to that consult call, they're ready. They know what I do. They know what I offer. They know what
hmm
it's going to cost. Now it's just a matter of that Q&A.
That's so smart. That is very smart. Yeah.
Thank you. And, it remembers the clients' birthdays. So I've got an email to go out on their birthday. So it's a
Nice.
lot of extra features just to give another touch point because with marketing, you've got to have, oh my gosh, so many touch points
Oh my
for
gosh.
people.
Yes.
And people are more cautious than ever about buying.
hmm Yeah.
So just trying to ease their concerns. But I've got several tech tools on the back end, but yeah, with berries, I have just loved it from day one.
Oh my gosh. I love it too. And yeah, I guess I should say this probably in the episodes. I am the clinical consultant for Barry. So I've been there every step of the way from the beginning, really helping like put all these amazing features in the back end. And every time something else comes out, it is just it's the most exciting thing in the world. One, to just be like a therapist involved with AI, and then with this particular company, and to be able to like, give them the clinician's voice, like what we want as therapists, like that AI assistant. Have you played around with that much? The new AI assistant that they've got that you could talk to about
A,
your clients?
a little bit, a
Yeah.
little bit. What's the
Oh my gosh.
end goal with it? Like,
Well, I mean, there's just so much you can do with it. They've got like hotkeys in there now that, like case conceptualization or like interventions. You can click the interventions button and it's just like it gives you interventions that you haven't even thought of yet with the client. But
yeah.
I've been using it recently to say, what am I actually missing with this client as their clinician
Yes,
that I
right.
have not thought of yet? And this thing, you guys, if you haven't used it yet, when you it basically it's analyzing the last 3 progress notes. It's analyzing if you've got an assessment in there, if you've got a treatment plan in there. So it's taking information from all these places, and it basically looks at what you're missing as a clinician, what like your blind spots.
Amazing.
We've all got the blind spots, right? I mean, Erin's an OCD therapist. I specialize in EMDR, and heavy trauma. I've changed over the years, but that's kind of my niche specialty, and we get stuck in those modalities. I don't know if you ever feel that way, Erin, but I get stuck in those modalities and it's like, I do the same interventions over and over again. It's like, okay, we're going to do this EMDR protocol. And sometimes I'm too busy. You don't get outside of your own head or your own box of modalities. And this thing just gives you, it blows my mind. I'm like, yes, I did not think of that. I literally never thought of that.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's so exciting.
Yeah. Well, and what has been so surprising is that I thought my clients were going to object to it or have questions, have concerns. I haven't run into anything. Like, it's just part of the intake paperwork. People sign it. We talk about it in the first appointment, and they're good.
Yeah, no problem. They're like, whatever, just help me.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience. Now I know not everybody has that experience. Not everybody wants to let AI like run in the background, but in the mental space that it gives me actually to be able to not have to like be thinking like I've got to remember this for my note later, like that kind of thing. I don't know if you experience that, but it's like you're always thinking like, how am I going to document this? But it's like you don't even really have to. You don't have to remember all the details throughout the session. You're like present. You could be fully present, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I agree 110% because it's like you don't have that mental noise happening in the background. I mean, I would have my iPad and my iPad pen thing like trying to document electronically still because like you can do that with simple practice, but it would just be shorthanded notes, and then I'll go in later and finish it. But yeah, not having to have that pressure of like, oh, I got to remember to include that.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen anymore. And you know what else I love about berries?
Yeah.
Is how like after the first note, maybe two that you do with a client, like as you edit it and save it, it truly reflects your preferences from there on out. The editing is super minimal by the time you get to the third session with a client.
Unbelievable, isn't it? It's like, okay, I know that you like these interventions. And you can even store your interventions in there too to make it more personalized. But yes, I totally agree. It gets to know you.
And it's very unique to each client too. I mean, it's just fabulous. I love how it picks up on the patterns and then it repeats that in the notes following.
Love it. Yes. So you've got berries. So you've got you got Thrizer doing the out of network stuff. Are you in network at all, or is it all out of network for you with the insurance stuff?
Only with one insurance.
Okay, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm using Simple Practice to file those claims, but probably here soon I'm going to just be completely out of network because, I mean, plenty of people have out of network benefits and Thrizer helps with that. So, I don't want to subsidize my income because, I mean, my children aren't asking for a subsidy, like
exactly.
I do this for them.
Right. Thanks for saying that. Yes. Okay. So I want to shift back again to your coaching business and everything you're doing with that. What type of person do you work with in your coaching business? Is that therapist facing stuff you're doing, or is it more you're pivoting to like psychoeducation with OCD people and doing like a coaching arm of that versus,
right.
Okay. Is that what you're doing?
Yes. More of a skills based in the psychoeducation.
Nice.
Particularly, I'm focusing on the relationship OCD. So for those women who are questioning, am I with the right person? Are they the one? Do they love me? Are we going to be sexually attracted to one another in 10 years? Like those types of questions that just play on repeat and keeps them up until 2 a.m. Like those are the women I'm supporting. So with the coaching business, it's a course, group meetings, or one-to-one.
Nice.
Yeah, and again, it's all with the intention of reaching more women.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, amazing. You're putting so much amazing stuff out into the world. You really are.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, having all these tools and supports makes it happen a lot quicker.
It really does. Yep. Yeah, I can't emphasize it enough that putting these things in place is what helps all of us, me, you, like scale up and succeed and reach more people, more income, more freedom, all of that.
And even for me, like with the therapy notes, like notes were never a problem for me. Like I always got them done within 24 hours, despite all this other stuff I had going on. It's just your notes are a top priority.
Yes. Right.
I mean, arguably the number one, like administrative thing you have to do. So I always prioritize that. But, it was draining my energy, never looked forward to it. And I put off the AI thing for too long, honestly, because once I stepped into the world of berries and just felt that sense of ease and saw how well like the berries platform worked.
Yes.
It was life-changing.
I agree. Have you ever forgotten to hit record and in a session? Because I have done that. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, now I've got to actually go back and like dictate, which you can with berries, which is really good. But when I forget to hit record, sometimes I'm like, I can't believe I did that, because it makes it so much easier to have a session, to not have to think about it later.
Right, right.
To not have to come back, even that vicarious trauma. Like I've got to pull up everything that we just talked about and try to figure out how to document that again. Yeah.
Right. I mean, with recording, I think maybe I did have a time where my internet went down. So that was tough. But yeah, doing the dictation, I mean, just talking through 3 minutes worth of what the session content was about, it still captures a really fantastic note.
It does. Absolutely. It certainly does. Well, so how do people find you in the world if they want to work with you or listen to your podcast or anything? Talk to you about what you're doing.
So my podcast is called Bossing Up Overcoming OCD. It's on Apple, Spotify, all the major platforms. My YouTube channel is Erin Davis YouTube. That's ERIN. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. My handle on the socials is Erin Davis Coaching.
Love it. Thank you, Erin. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Kym.